You know, every now and then, someone will come to me and say, I don't understand it. I'm working hard. I'm trying. I'm doing everything I know, but I still feel stuck. And I always tell them the same thing Jim Rohn taught thousands of people across the world. Your life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. But change requires understanding, and understanding requires honesty. Today, we're talking about the hidden reason you're still stuck. Not the surface reason, not the excuses. The hidden one. The one that quietly controls your days, your choices, your habits, and your results. And once you see it, truly see it, you won't be the same. So let's begin. The real enemy is never outside. You see, most people blame circumstances, where they grew up, who their parents were, their job, their boss, the economy, or the timing. But Jim Rohn would remind us, it's not what happens that determines your future. It's what you do about what happens. Have you ever noticed that two people can start in the same place, with the same challenges, and yet end up in completely different worlds? One thrives, one struggles, one finds opportunity, the other sees obstacles. Why is that? Because the real enemy is never outside. It's the quiet story you tell yourself when no one is watching, the subtle belief you've rehearsed for years, the invisible wall you've built with thoughts like, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I'm not as talented as others, maybe I don't deserve more. Let me share a story. I once knew a young man who dreamed of starting a business. He had ambition, talent, and ideas. But year after year, he never did it. Finally, I asked him, what's stopping you? He said, I guess I'm waiting for confidence. And I told him, my friend, confidence doesn't come before the decision. It comes after the action. Just like a muscle, you earn confidence by using it. So if you felt stuck, ask yourself, what belief have I accepted without proof? What story have I repeated so often that it became truth? Because once you face that hidden narrative, change becomes possible. Your habits reveal the truth, not your dreams. We all have dreams. Dreams of financial freedom, of better health, of meaningful relationships, of a life we're proud of. But dreams don't reveal the truth. Habits do. Jim Rohn used to say, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. So let me ask you, what do your habits say about your future? Do they say you're disciplined, focused, growing, or drifting? Imagine you're standing at the edge of a river. You want to get to the other side where the life you want is waiting. Your habits are the boat. Some people spend years upgrading their dreams, but never upgrade their habits. That's like building a mansion on the other side, but refusing to step into the boat. I knew a woman who wanted to get in shape. She bought the best gym clothes, the best supplements, even the best water bottle. But she didn't build the habit of showing up. She had the dream, but not the discipline. See, if a habit takes you 1% closer today, it takes you 37 times closer in a year. That's the math of discipline. Small choices, multiplied by time, create big changes. So look at your habits honestly, not judgmentally. Honestly, ask, do my habits match the life I want, or the life I'm trying to leave behind? Your habits reveal the truth you may have been avoiding, and that truth is the first step to getting unstuck. If this message resonates, comments, I'm ready to grow. Let's continue. Your environment is training you, whether you see it or not. Here's a question Jim Rohn asked that changed my life. Who is influencing you? Because whether you realize it or not, your environment is shaping your future. Your friends, your routines, the content you consume, the conversations you have, they're all training you. You may think you're choosing your environment, but often your environment is choosing your habits, and your habits are choosing your destiny. Picture a young plant placed in the shade. It may have potential, nutrients, good soil, but it never grows tall because it never gets enough sunlight. Move that same plant just a few feet, and suddenly it flourishes. Nothing changed except its environment. Years ago, a gentleman told Jim, I want to succeed, but everyone around me is negative. Jim replied, you might need a new circle, or at least a tighter one. Because negativity is contagious, but so is ambition. so is discipline. So is growth. Think about it. Are the people around you pulling you forward or holding you in place? Are your daily influences lifting you up or draining your energy? You don't have to cut everyone off. You don't need dramatic speeches or difficult confrontations. Sometimes you just need to create a little space and fill that space with voices that push you to grow. Your environment can be the anchor that keeps you stuck or the wind that carries you forward. And once you change it, even slightly, everything else becomes possible. And once you begin to adjust your environment, even slightly, you'll notice something fascinating. Your thinking begins to shift. Your choices begin to sharpen. And suddenly you realize that the feeling of being stuck wasn't a permanent condition. It was simply a reflection of the influences around you. That brings us to the next phase. Because once the environment changes, the inner world must be rebuilt as well. Rebuilding your philosophy, the foundation of all decision-making. Jim Rohn used to say, "Your philosophy is the major determining factor in how your life works out." Your philosophy is simply the way you think about life, your personal set of rules, expectations, assumptions, and beliefs. But here's the challenge. Most people never consciously build their philosophy. They inherit it from parents, from teachers, from culture, from friends, from mistakes, and often from fear. Imagine inheriting an old map. Most people walk through life using a map that was handed to them, never questioning whether the map still matches the terrain. A young man once told me he felt stuck financially. He said, "No matter what I do, I can't seem to get ahead." When we talked more, I discovered he believed deep down that wealthy people were greedy. He believed money was suspicious, even dangerous. And so I asked him, "How can you attract what you secretly dislike?" That was his hidden reason. The moment he reshaped his philosophy, not by hype, but by understanding, everything changed. He started reading, learning, saving, investing, planning, all because he no longer felt guilty about growing. Your philosophy is like the thermostat of your life. If it's set too low, your actions will always match that temperature. But when you raise the setting, everything adjusts upward. So ask yourself, what philosophy have I been living with? And is it helping me reach the life I want, or keeping me exactly where I am? The power of momentum, starting small, growing steady. Momentum is one of the most misunderstood forces in personal growth. People assume they need a massive breakthrough, a perfect plan, or a burst of inspiration. But Jim Rohn taught the opposite. He said, "You don't have to do extraordinary things. You just have to do ordinary things extraordinarily well." Momentum begins with small decisions, small actions, small improvements. Think of a snowball at the top of a hill. At first it barely moves. Then it picks up speed, and before long it becomes unstoppable. That's how momentum works in your life. Let me share a story. A young woman shared with me that her life felt overwhelming. She didn't know where to start. Her finances, her health, her goals all felt too big, too messy, too far gone. So I asked her to do something simple. Start with the smallest win you can find. She decided to walk just 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes. That's it. 2 weeks later, she expanded it to 20. A month later, she was eating better. Soon after, she started budgeting. Not because she forced herself, but because momentum made the next step easier. You see, action creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. And confidence expands your capacity. Small wins accumulate. Small wins compound. Small wins create transformation. If you've been stuck, maybe you don't need a big step. Maybe you just need the next step. If this message is helping you build momentum, take a second to subscribe. Now let's continue. The discipline gap, where most people get lost. This is the part nobody enjoys hearing, but everyone needs to hear. The real gap between where you are and where you want to be is very often the discipline gap. Jim Rohn said it best. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And here's the truth. Most people don't fail because they're incapable, or unintelligent, or unlucky. They fail because they lack consistent discipline. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean waking up at 4 a.m. It doesn't mean grinding until you collapse. Discipline simply means Doing what you said you would do, long after the mood has left. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine someone planting seeds. They water them for 2 days, then stop because the excitement wears off. A week later, nothing has grown. So they say, "See, I knew it wouldn't work," and they walk away. The truth is, the seeds were still alive. They just weren't given enough time. Your goals are the same. They need nurturing, time, repetition, patience, consistency. A friend of mine wanted to write a book, but every time he tried, he lost motivation. Finally, I told him, "Don't write a book. Write 1 paragraph a day." 3 months later, he had a full manuscript, not because of inspiration, but because of discipline. So examine your life honestly. Where do you start strong but fail to follow through? What discipline have you been avoiding, postponing, or resisting? Because discipline isn't a punishment. It's a gift, a tool, a pathway. Once you master discipline, even at a small level, you begin to master your future. The habit loop. Rewriting your default settings. If discipline is the bridge, habits are the path. They're the automatic patterns that determine 90% of your day. Most people don't even realize how much of their life runs on autopilot. The way you wake up, how you think, how you react, how you spend your free time, how you speak to yourself. These are all habits. And here's the secret. Your habits are trying to protect you, not from danger, but from discomfort. Your mind is built for survival, not success. And survival prefers comfort, familiarity, repetition. So whenever you try to grow, to start a new habit, to change your routine, your brain whispers, "Let's not do that. Let's stay where we are. It's safe here." But safety isn't the same as progress. Jim Rohn said, "Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better." Becoming better requires rewriting your default settings. Let me share a quick example. A man I coached wanted to stop wasting time on his phone. He said, "It's automatic. I don't even think about it." So I asked him to change one thing. Move all social apps to the last page of his phone. Just that. He laughed. "Will that really help?" A week later, he said, "I didn't realize how much I used my phone out of habit. Now that little extra friction, it makes me aware. And awareness gives me control." That's the habit loop. Awareness, adjustment, improvement. Once you become aware of the patterns holding you back, you regain your ability to choose. And that's the beginning of freedom. Before you close this tab, leave a comment that finishes this sentence. Here's one habit I'll start today. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and share this with one person who needs the push. Your action is the ripple that starts the wave.